Hi, good evening, Neil Young. This is thetaxjournal.com, and this is for purposes of accounting 452. This is the liquidation of a parent subsidiary situation. This is governed under Section 332 of the Internal Revenue Code. It sets forth three essential requirements that are important for you to know, and one of those is in order to receive non-recognition of the gain or sale upon the liquidation of its subsidiary, there are three important components. One is the 80% test. In other words, the parent must own 80% or more of the voting control of the underlying subsidiary. That is the voting stock. The other test is it must not be insolvent, and by insolvency, the term is governed under the code, and the subsidiary must distribute all of its assets in a plan of liquidation and a cancellation of its stock. So in other words, at the end of the day, the subsidiary is out. And let's do this. Let's jump right into an illustration. And let's say we have P1 and P2. I'm getting really complex in that. Parent 1, Parent 2. We have the subsidiary. Parent's 1 basis in the subsidiary. What is its tax basis? In this case, $1.5 million. What's Parent 2's basis in the subsidiary? $60,000. And we know Parent 1 owns 85% of the stock. Parent 2 owns 15%. And let's say as part of this plan of liquidation, P1 is going to receive assets, and that's the assets it's going to receive from the subsidiary are those with a fair market value of $2,295,000 with a basis of $1.8 million. The good news is, consistent with Section 332, it passes the test. It owns more than 80%, it owns 85%. In fact, the subsidiary is solvent, and there is going to be a plan of liquidation, and the stock is going to be canceled. As a result, the basis will carry over to P1, and its prior basis of $1.5 million will change to $1.8 million, and the subsidiary is gone. Now, let's address P2. P2 is going to receive land with a fair market value of $405,000, basis of $325,000. You say, okay, there's going to be gain or loss treatment as if the subsidiary sold the land to P2. Why? Well, it didn't pass the requirements set forth under Section 332. It's not at the 80% threshold, so it's rather apparent. Any distributions going up as part of that plan of liquidation is going to trigger recognition. Two important points to note. The subsidiary is going to have gain recognition as if it sold the land to P2. It will then, what's the fair market value? $405,000. Its basis is $325,000. The subsidiary will then have $80,000 of gain. Now, what is P2's basis? Is it going to be a carryover basis? Think about this. P2 then is also treated as if it has to recognize the gain on having sold the land. It then will have a basis of $405,000. You say, well, how did you get to that? Well, P2's basis in the subsidiary was $60,000. It had land worth $405 distributed to it. It then has $345,000 worth of gain that it must pick up. As a result, the basis in the land held by P2 is $405,000. Critical point to note. If you could go back again, see the difference? The basis in this case, because there's non-recognition treatment, it's not treated as if it sold it for fair market value, so there isn't a almost $600,000, or rather, $500,000 gain here between the basis of 1.8 and the fair market value of $2,295,000, but rather it's carried up and the carryover basis transfers to then P1. Important point to note, there is no 338 election here that would trigger gain recognition. That's another video.